Do you want to play Yugioh competitively, but don't have hundreds of dollars to spend on lightning storms, infinite impermanences, or Appaloosa? Well, in this series, I'm going to show you all the budget tips and tricks that you can use to build your decks for cheap while still being able to compete with the top meta decks. My name is TCG Sam, and this is Yu-Gi-Oh! On a Budget.
What's up, guys? My name is TCG Sam, and welcome back to another episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! On a Budget. Today I'm going to be showing you a budget Shaddoll deck profile that you can make for pretty much 3 structure decks plus a few extra cards, and it should be all under 50 Canadian dollars. And this deck can actually compete with the top meta decks right now because Winda is super oppressive against combo decks, and the deck has enough grind potential to play a slower game against the control decks. But without further ado, let's begin and let's get into the deck profile. Alright, so starting off with the monsters, I played 3 copies of Shaddoll Wendy. This one is the best Shaddoll in my opinion because it just sets a one straight from your deck, and that's just crazy because all the Shadolls have incredible flip effects, and some of them are actually more powerful than the effects they get when they're sent to the graveyard. And Wendy is also important because she's a wind attribute, and she's a different attribute than the regular Dark Shadolls, and that's important because you need it to make El Shaddoll Apkalone in the extra deck, which is also a very, very good card. Next, I played 3 copies of Shaddoll Squamata. So Shaddoll Squamata is like also one of the most important cards in the deck because it just foolishes any Shaddoll in the deck. And it's an out to problem monsters like Arsenal Christia or Bandysteen. And the good thing about the Shadolls is their flip effects do really come up in the grind game because you can just play a slow grind game with another control deck and just trade 1 for 1 and eventually make a big push with your fusions. So that's why this deck is actually so good. But anyways, 3 Squamata is definitely necessary. You need it to have more consistent access to dumping your stuff into the graveyard. Then next I played 2 Shaddoll Beast. I only played 2 because you definitely don't want to see multiples of this, and you don't even really want to draw it in your hand. You rather summon it off Shaddoll Wendy. It's probably the best one to summon it off that actually because its flip effect is one of the most impactful. Just flip itself, draw 2, discard 1. And when it's sent to the grave for fusion material, draw a card, and that's also really good. But the problem is it's level 5, so you can't normal set it or normal summon it. That's why I only played 2. Next, I actually chose to play 3 Shaddoll Hedgehog. Now, most people only play 2 copies, and I would agree with that. But in a budget version, you need access to your fusion spells. So sometimes you just need to set a Shaddoll Hedgehog, wait a turn, and add like your Shaddoll Fusion or your El Shaddoll Fusion. Because you don't have consistent access to another fusion spell like Invocation in the Invoke Shaddoll variant. Shaddoll Hedgehog is also really good because when it's sent to the grave, you tutor out more resources to your hand, so you can use it for more fusion plays later, or you can use it for another card I'm going to show later in the deck. Next for the 1-of Shaddolls, I played 1 Shaddoll Falco. Shaddoll Falco is really good for the grind game. There's not much more that needs to be said about it. It just helps you grind so well because you just keep summoning stuff back, and if you can summon itself back when it's used as fusion material and if you wait a turn, you bring back like one of the Shadolls you used as a fusion material to get its flip effect or something. Next, I only played 1 copy of Shaddoll Dragon. This is only good against the control decks because, well, the combo decks don't really play back row. But other than that, Shaddoll Dragon is just a very solid card. You definitely need to play at least 1 so you can get some spot removal for spell and traps, but otherwise you can just side another copy for your control deck matchups. Next, I played 1 Nail Shaddoll Aerial. This is for the construct combo where you just dump a light and use construct and Squamata to send Shaddoll and Reincarnation, and you can just summon this, flip this up with Reincarnation, and summon your construct from the Banished Zone, and get its effect again. And it's also a different attribute for El Shaddoll Apkalone, which is also very important. On top of that, her send to grave effect to banish 3 cards from either graveyard can be pretty good, because who doesn't like 3DD Crows in 1 card? For the last Shaddoll, I'm going to play Shaddoll Chaos. This is going to seem like a weird choice because its effect isn't really that good. They're usable, but like obviously it's not ideal. You definitely don't really want to see this. You only want to search it off your Hedgehog when you need a light target for construct. but that's exactly why we play it, because we don't have enough light targets that we can consistently have access to like we do in the Evoked Shaddoll build with Secure Guard now. So that's why I played one Cat Shaddoll Kaios. You can definitely cut it if you would like to play a more control style, then you don't need to focus on turboing out Construct as much. Next I play probably one of the better cards in the deck is Mathematician. Especially in a budget build, you need an impactful normal summon, and Mathematician just gives you that. You straight up get access to your Reshaddoll Wendy, so you can send Reshaddoll, set like a Hedgehog for next turn, get a fusion spell, and just be able to play next turn, or you can send like a Hedgehog, add something to hand, and make a fusion play from there. Either way, Mathematician is just a really impactful normal summon, especially in this budget deck where you don't have something like Alistair the Invoker or the Invoked Engine. That's why Mathematician is just really good, especially in a grind game too. Its draw one effect can actually come up. And then I'm actually playing a fourth normal summon, and that's One Keeper Dragon Magic. So this card is pretty interesting because when you summon it, you actually get to directly search your Shaddoll Fusion from your deck to your hand. Other than that, it doesn't really do much. But I just wanted a fourth normal summon because I just didn't want to have to like set a Shaddoll and pass turn in 2020 because that's obviously not ideal. So I decided to put in One Keeper Dragon Magic because you can just directly access your Shaddoll Fusion from your deck. Unfortunately, its effect doesn't trigger the Shaddolls because it's a cost, but other than that, it's pretty solid. You definitely don't need to play it, but it's an interesting option you should keep in mind. Next, I played only one Damage Juggler and one Trick Clown. So the one Trick Clown's pretty standard because you want to search off Damage Juggler, but I only play one Damage Juggler because in this build, you're not going to be able to see your combo as consistently because you don't have consistent access to fusion spells. In reality, I only put this in the deck so when you're going second and resolve a Shaddoll Fusion to summon a El Shaddoll Construct, you can just dump this straight from your deck, banish, search this, and do your normal combo from there. Otherwise, they're solid cards, but it's just difficult for you to actually be able to combo off in this budget version, so I decided to only play 1 and 1. Lastly, I played 3 Effect Veiler. So since it's a budget deck, you just need I would say you need a light hand trap to have more consistent access to El Shaddoll Construct. That's why I played Effect Veiler, because it's a solid card and it's a light. However, if you have the budget to do it, I would definitely upgrade this to 3 Nibirus, because it's a more impactful card against the meta and can completely end an opponent's turn. However, Effect Veiler definitely works if you're just playing the budget version. That's it for the monsters, and next for the spells, it's 3 Shaddoll Fusion. Shaddoll Fusion is actually not as like game warping as it used to be, obviously, because nowadays you have to deal with negates going second and whatnot, and going first is just a regular polymerization. But other than that, obviously going second, this is a really solid card and gives your deck the power and the ability to be able to actually go second successfully, because just dumping 2 straight from your deck, summoning a construct, dumping another one, and triggering like 3 Shaddoll effects is just crazy. Next I play 3 El Shaddoll Fusion. This one is the best fusion spell in my opinion because it allows you to make disruptive plays on your opponent's turn when you summon something like Apclone or summon like a Winda when they committed to a special summon already. And other than that, it's just a regular fusion spell too. And then I played 1 Neff Shaddoll Fusion. You don't really see this in many Shaddoll decks, but since it's a budget version, you want access to more fusion spells. And this works, but is not ideal because you have to have a Shaddoll in the field, which means you'd have to normal summon a Shaddoll monster, activate this, equip it, and then use its effect to fusion. However, this is actually pretty cheeky because you can change the attribute on your Shaddoll monster to actually match the fusion you actually want to summon and get its effect for. So it can actually come up, and of course you can keep cycling it back with your Shaddoll fusions. Next, it's 3 Super Poly. Super Poly is still quite a powerful card, especially going second. You can use it to dismantle boards, and even if you have to normal summon a Shaddoll and use this and another opponent's monster, it's still alright because you get that Shaddoll effect, and you got rid of one of their negates. Super Polymerization is just such a versatile card, and it's such a strong card because it can't be responded to, and it's just honestly such a powerhouse that works so well in the Shaddoll deck, which is why I would suggest playing 3. Finally, one Foolish Burial for the last spell. Your whole deck gets effects when they're sent to the grave, so obviously you want to play Foolish Burial to be able to access those effects more easily. And then for the traps, I play 2 Shaddoll Incarnation. I would say you definitely need at least 2 in the pure version. One is going to be for your El Shaddoll Construct combo, where you have a light and you have to banish one out of the grave. But the other one, you definitely need it because you want to keep looping your Shaddoll fusions and your regular Shaddoll guys to get to be able to have a stronger grind game. Because if you keep adding this off of your Shaddoll fusions, you keep like looping your construct, your windas, your apkalones, and that's just really powerful. You can definitely play 3 if you want, if you're focusing on more of a control, going first build. However, 2 I think is a really good number. The last Shaddoll trap, played 1 Shaddoll Core. This was my 40th card. I decided to just put this in because it's an interesting card. It allows you to go for stronger Apkalone plays and winda plays on your opponent's turn, because Shaddoll Core just acts as any attribute that you want. And of course, if it's sent to the grave, you get to add back a fusion spell, so that contributes to your grind game and really helps you out. You can substitute this with anything you feel is necessary, maybe an Upstart Goblin for more consistency, but I just like Shaddoll Core because it gives you more options, and of course it's searchable and recyclable because it's a Shaddoll spell or trap. Finally, I decided to play 2 Paleozoic Dino Mischiefs. This card works incredible in this deck because the discard is not a cost, so you can discard your Shaddolls and trigger their effects on top of banishing your opponent's cards. And this card just outs anything you want, outs Mystic Minds, outs Floodgates, outs Problem Monsters. It's a disruption. It just works wonders in this deck. And the only reason I'm not playing 3 is if you go second, it's not the greatest. But going first, if you set this, have a Shaddoll in your hand, it's just really powerful, because if let's say you have a Shaddoll Wendy in your hand and send it off of this, then you're able to actually start your plays, because Shaddoll summons like a Hedgehog face down or something. Alright, and moving on to the extra deck, I played 2 El Shaddoll Construct. I feel like you only need 2 because you can just keep looping it back with like Falco or Shaddoll Incarnation. You really don't need more than this. And also, you don't have that many lights in your deck, so it's actually more difficult to summon this than you would think. So that's why I would think you only need 2. Next, play 2 Winda. It's probably the best monster in the extra deck, and what makes this deck actually viable now. Because Winda is just the oppressive floodgate that completely locks your opponent out of the game if they're playing a combo deck. And if you can back it up with protection like Paleozoic Dino Mischiefs, then Winda should just win you the game from there. Once again, I don't think you need a 3rd one, because by the time you go through the 2nd one, you've either already won or you're about to lose, because they're able to keep outing your Windas. That's why I would say you only need 2. And then I only played 1 El Shaddoll Apkalone. You don't have that many Shaddolls of different attributes. You could consider bumping this up to 2 and playing more Nef Shaddoll fusions to actually get access to this more, because this is a very powerful card. Just negating a face-up card permanently, and especially on your opponent's turn, can be very powerful. And it's very difficult to kill because you can't destroy it by battle, and when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to essentially search your deck for a Shaddoll and trigger it. And then, since this is a budget version and you have space in the extra deck, I played 1 El Shaddoll Shekanaga, because you have Mathematicians that are Earth, and its negation effect can come up. It can be another form of disruption on your field in addition to Winda. Next, for the Super Poly targets, I play Mud Dragon of the Swamp and Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. So obviously, you can just swap these for whatever Super Poly targets you need. It's like maybe the people at your locals are playing different decks that you can Super Poly into. It doesn't have to be these 2, but I just thought these 2 would be the most commonly usable ones, because Dark Monsters are quite prevalent, and Mud Dragon is the most generic one. For the links, I still play 1 Gravity Controller. This card is still really good, because if you ever need, you can summon like an Apkalone to your extra monster zone, link into this, and essentially search a Shaddoll card and trigger it. Or you can just use it to grab back like a fusion card for later, or a spell or trap later. And its effect can also be quite relevant and difficult to kill. Especially nowadays, people are summoning stuff to the main monster zone. It actually can't be killed by battle by something there. So that's why Gravity Controller is really good. Next, played Shaddoll Construct. I just thought this could come up sometimes when you just have 2 random flips on your field after a while. And it's also good to get into your grave because you can just keep kind of looping it and summoning it. Probably the most expensive card in the deck, ironically, is a rare Cross Sheep. I think this is the only really quote expensive card you need outside of the structure deck, because its effect when you special summon a fusion monster to a zone it points to, you just get to summon back. You get to summon back anything, which is just incredible. And you can use it to link climb or use it as further fusion material. And then since they're the most generic monsters, I played one Nightmare Phoenix, one Nightmare Unicorn. Now we're just getting to utility. You can play anything you want here. I just thought these two would be the most generic and the most, therefore, the most useful. And as your link for boss monster, I play Borreload Dragon. Borreload Dragon can still be a problem for some decks out, and its effect can be quite prevalent, just stealing an opponent's monster and using it again. Now you may have noticed that I was only 14 cards, and the reason for that is I actually want to hear from you guys. What would you play in the 15th slot? I would say it's a flex slot, and everything you need is already there. But if you just want some suggestions, you could play another copy of App Clone, another Construct, another Winda, or you could even try teching one of the other attribute Shaddoll fusions. So like maybe in your area there's a lot of water, fire, or wind decks, and your super poly is going to be live more often if you just have one of these in your extra deck. Otherwise, you could also try playing on more super poly targets like Borreload Furious, Critical Plant Dragos Depilia, or World Chalice Guard Dragon Amarduke. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that deck profile. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will try to get back to them if you have any questions or concerns. Otherwise, I'm planning to post a dual replay of this deck, showing you what it can do against the decks in the meta, even when it's extremely cheap. Alright, so thanks so much for watching once again. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.